That was
Hi,
shit.
Hi guys.
Wow. No, yeah.
Welcome
we're
back
keeping
to
it,
another
though.
video.
What's up, guys? It's Noodle and Sam. We're back with another fucking Q&A.
Too many things are happening all the time and they need to stop, but that's not going to happen.
Do you guys have anything you would recommend for someone that wants to start making games? Aside from not starting at all. Stuff like videos on what parts of game design someone might be interested in, what programming languages to learn, etc. That was from Dumbbun 2017.
Interesting. It would be fucking awesome if you started developing a game. I think the first thing I'd recommend is you pick the biggest idea you can.
Oh, never mind. Okay, I like this. I like this.
Here's the actual fucking truthful response to this question is that there is only one wrong way to get started making games, and it's whatever way you picked. It literally does not matter. It will be wrong somehow. Trying to like pre-calculate all the million universes of ways that you could start to figure out what the right one is just a waste of time. You are way better served just picking anything that seems like it might work for you and trying it out. Especially because all of this software is fucking free. You can start, like, you can do anything from Roblox to downloading fucking Game Maker to using old ass versions of software if they seem funnier to you. Yeah, I don't know.
Just do what you want. Just explore.
Explore shit. The more time that you spend fucking up, the more time you spend learning, and you'll have fun probably. And if you stop having fun, try something else.
Yeah, I mean, what I was gonna say was just find a community of people.
Yes.
I one of the easiest ways to stop doing stuff is by having no one to share it with.
Yeah.
Or like not being in a place where you're encouraged to keep doing it. So find some like-minded people who also want to start making stuff.
Yes. Make a fucking thing out of it. Join the Final V3 Discord.
Yes.
We don't have a Discord server.
I'm if you even suggest we make one, I'll fight you on it.
Cool. All right, but yeah, good luck.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's our great advice. Do stuff.
Yeah.
Mike O'Rooney asks, when you have creative disagreements, how do you dissolve them?
Dissolve is not the word I would use.
Yeah.
Settle is usually the word I would use.
Yeah, it turns into fucking court for a second.
It's actually, like it gets pretty serious. If it's something that we both care about and disagree on.
It gets really serious and weirdly introspective.
Yeah.
Because when we're at an impasse, it's like the thing that we have to explain is not why is this good, why is my idea good, but why do I believe this thing about the project? Like, because if we can figure out the reasons why we both have the differing opinions, then we can either figure out which one is actually better, figure out which one maybe doesn't matter, or find a third door that better addresses all of the concerns, because usually we both have a blind spot at the same time.
Yeah, it's you and I have just gotten very good at shortcutting through a lot of the figuring stuff out that comes from these conversations and just going straight to exactly the core of the problem that we have whenever we disagree on something.
Yeah.
And so it just very quickly becomes, pretty much as you said, just a very strangely introspective conversation about why exactly what we're making matters in our heart or something.
Yeah. I think the longest that one of those has ever gone on so far was figuring out the music for the end of the Bass Reeves video.
Oh yeah.
Figuring out
that was a multiple week long debate that we had to put down and pick up later several times.
Yeah, we had to bring in friend Eli to handle actually writing the end as like an original piece, because the vibe had to be so specific.
Yeah, there was no other piece that could ever have filled the void that they wrote.
It's so
not without heavy modification.
It's like, and it's not even that like, oh, this is an incredibly intricate piece. It's just so specific the job that it has to do, because the ending of that video is extremely serious in a way that moves through a lot of different emotions, and the music had to not be louder than that, but also not undercut it, but also not be not present is
very hard.
Is very hard, and hopefully you didn't even notice it.
I game shit says
cool.
Any projects planned besides the podcast, branching out into other mediums?
That is an interestingly phrased question,
right?
because I can't tell if it is implying that a joint venture of ours would branch into another medium, or if this listener doesn't know that we do other stuff, because both could be true.
I mean, for me, it's a pretty fair assessment. Well, Sam?
Go on.
No, there's nothing more for me to say on the matter, really. I mean, like I'm a YouTuber. Sex FM was like the recent example, but like this question was asked before that was really much of a thing. I think so.
Yeah, because you did a radio station performance art thing. We were both planning to do a game, which you can hear on this podcast. The idea of planning to do a game is maybe a stretch, but we were pitching around the idea of doing a game video combo thing at one point.
Might still happen at some point.
May still happen. As for me, I don't know. I've been very, very all over the place, and I've been kind of thinking about shutting down the rest of my career to become a full-time podcaster, and just kind of shooting the shit and telling it like it is.
This is how he dodges answering the actual question, because none of the stuff he can actually he's able to talk about that would answer this question is stuff he can say on a public platform right now.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, I've been doing like little shitpost desktop toys and little games and things on my own for a bit. I recently did another one that I think this question was asked before I released the little fidget physics one that I talked about the
definitely
awesome launch of in the last episode. Yeah, I've been interested in crossing the boundary into doing more video type stuff. I've been sitting on a project for quite a while now because some shit happened in real life that made it less funny. And that's as much as I'm gonna say. But I literally have a section of a video on my computer fully shot and edited, and then some shit happened, and then I watched it again and it felt different. And so I'm hoping that changes.
The thing is that you're the only one who feels that way, which is valid because
to everyone else, it's funnier.
To literally everyone else who's ever seen it, it's way better now. Circumstance made what you were working on way fucking funnier.
I was joking about a thing, and then it kind of actually happened.
Yeah. So it's like prophetic now in a way.
Yeah. And
it's like it's really loaded in a way that it wasn't before.
Yeah, in many ways. But yeah, like that was one of my projects where I would make a game thing, and then I would spin out a narrative of how I made it that was like 50% true and 50% narrative. And I think it would be the best one that I ever did, because I've only done 2 of them ever, and my last one was like years ago. But yeah, I don't know. I'm interested in doing more stuff like that, and I'm still sitting on my hands waiting for my situation to get into a place where I might be able to take another swing at the streaming thing with the game engine tools that I built to make game engine actually fucking tolerable to watch guy use.
Yes.
And then all that fails. Librarian. Okay, this one's specifically about the game industry, but I think it kind of applies to both. Phil's Dev asks, how much does luck factor into success in the game industry, or indie game industry? I've heard of many stories from outside the industry how good art can be overlooked due to just being there at the wrong time. Do you guys believe in the idea that if you have a unique and fun idea, you will find your audience and in turn success?
No.
You can have like a long and good, sustainable career making money in other ways and making video games, but
success is a very loaded word that contains a lot of assumptions that I challenge.
It doesn't help that they're putting it in air quotes.
I'm going to go in ahead that they put success in quotation marks because of the fact that for reasons that I'm about to say, which is that when people say success, they mean financial success. And whenever they say financial success, they're often talking about more than sustainability. They're talking about like growth, like significant return on investment, the ability to scale up. I don't think that's what that word should mean. I think that we don't live in a meritocracy. The best stuff does not naturally float to the top. That's not how the creative industry works. It's not how it's ever worked. And so...
But it's always worked like that just enough.
Yeah, sure.
For people to keep telling the story.
I think that if you want to make things, You have to do it for the love of the game and more than anything else. You need to really love what you're doing, and then if it doesn't make you money or not a lot of people see it, you're not going to get upset about it. This is advice that I would have given before the entire entertainment industry began to implode, but it is more relevant now, I feel, than ever. Just because you make something good, it does not mean that it will go anywhere or do anything or anyone will see it. So you need to be making things because you want to make things.
I think you can get more specific than that, too. The thing is, like, if you want to find success, having an idea that is unique and fun is...
Okay, but again, what do you mean by success here?
I'm following the same definition as you.
Okay.
If you want to find that kind of success, having a unique and fun idea is not the thing that gets you to success. It's the thing that gets you to the table. You need to have a unique and fun idea to even show up to get lucky. And so the thing that a lot of people are now trying to do with varying degrees of success is give themselves as many shots as possible. I think one of the big mistakes that people make is, and you can argue this back and forth, like it hasn't worked like this for everyone, but if you want to go all in on your first idea, you have to get way fucking luckier than if you give yourself a lot of small attempts that you can grow and build off of. This is something that, like, it's very...
Sam specifically can talk at length about this particular approach.
Yeah. In order for an idea to be successful, you need as many of these things to be, again, for that definition of success, you need as many of these things to be as true as possible at the same time. One, it needs to be, unique and fun. Two, it needs to be visibly unique and fun. You need to be able to communicate why it's unique and fun in a way that can fit into the shape of a tweet or a TikTok. It needs to be unique and fun and have a hook. Three, if it can be seen in any way as a response to things happening. I'm not talking about political commentary, but I mean, hey, we have seen games where, like, the actual game was maybe not necessarily, like, I can't even recall details about it, but the thing I remember was that, they embroidered all of the art and then took pictures of it and then used that as the sprites of the game, because that was not directly, but in response to, generative AI, we can just snap our fingers and make any art. And here's a person who's like, I'm putting a stupid amount of effort into the art in my game in a way that is very clear. And that is a hook.
It can be more conversational than that, too. Being part of a dialogue is just inherently interesting because it feels current in a way.
Yeah. If it looks like your thing is part of a conversation, people are more likely to talk about it and see it. If this sounds all very, like, clinical and cynical, it's because I'm trying to distill a lot of dynamics into something that you can read as kind of a guidebook.
Yeah, and also you do kind of have to think that way. If you want to find a commercial success. Like, this is, again, we do not live in a meritocracy. It is a complete rat race out there. So you can't just make something that's good and it will succeed. You have to be thinking about what makes something catch on.
Yeah.
And so you got to think like a cold, heartless business bastard sometimes if you want to make that stuff work, if you want to find commercial success.
And also, not for nothing, but, like, when you do actually, if you can get people talking about your thing and sharing it around, you then actually do have to be able to deliver on it. Otherwise, all of it was kind of for nothing. And there have been a lot of cases where people bite off more than they can chew, and they get to this part where people are talking about the game, and then a year passes, and then another year passes, and eventually it becomes the game that misses its moment, which is really fucking tough. It's heartbreaking.
But it's especially frustrating because a lot of the time you'll see that happen whenever their priorities aren't quite straight. Like if I had a fat dollar for every single time I saw someone try hard to make something land and get people talking about it, then succeed, then realize that they don't have the skill set to deliver on what they promised because they were trying to get viral before they built their skills up enough to be able to deliver on it, is crazy.
Yeah.
It's so common.
Which is also part of where starting with smaller projects helps. It lets you build up so much, and it also, being able to deliver on a small scale gives you more credibility, even just as a developer, because finishing a project is a unique skill set that is distinct from starting it. And this is a thing that has panned out. Like, A Short Hike was a surprise success from a guy that was making it as a break from his other project that still hasn't come out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Short Hike fucking rules.
Oh yeah, no, I
and
love
that other
that game.
project also looks like it would have ruled, but it was. I think that he's talked about it as being just like, yeah, it was too big, too fast, and he built up a lot of skills that he was able to channel into this other thing and was more likely to find success because of it. And if a Short Hike didn't work out,
it's fine because it was a short project, so it wouldn't have,
yeah,
less risk.
Yeah, de-risking.
I mean, if we're being entirely for real about any given girl listening to this, most people who are who are asking those questions are probably still in the like, how do I break in realm? Like where's a good starting point?
Yeah.
Which is why I honestly I think I've said all I wanted to say on it.
Yeah.
Let's just pick another question. From Leon Massey. Hi Leon. Hi Leon.
Hi Leon.
Thoughts on the state of YouTube as a digital landfill? To be honest, I don't know what he means by that. You could interpret that question in a lot of ways, and I can't tell if he did that on purpose. Because he would. He is the kind of dickhead who would do that. Like, is he just saying that like man, there's so many ways to interpret this. Is he saying that like YouTube is like the digital equivalent of a landfill and how it is killing the planet right now? Is he talking about how it's becoming more and more of a dumping ground for garbage? Is he talking about just the general state of media as it applies to YouTube? Leon, what the fuck did you mean?
Can we call Leon right now?
I would, but I don't know what his sleep schedule is.
I mean, I the way that I would interpret, because this is now an interpretive question.
If it were anyone else who asked the question, I would feel bad, but it's Leon, so fuck him. We're just going to answer this question the way we feel like answering it. You don't get to wow me on that, dude. Have you seen his hairline?
Wow.
He doesn't have one.
Again, fuck you.
Fucking waxes that scalp every day,
This
dude.
is the worst way that this question could possibly go.
And it's his fault for not being more clear.
I'm pretty sure digital landfill is like a specific term that I have heard before, where it's just like, here's the place that all of the content goes, and the wheat is not separated from the chaff. Everything is just there in the same value, and the pile is always growing. There's not really curation. We never get rid of anything. There's not much of a filter. And so instead of being a museum of all of the things that human beings have made, it ends up being more of a landfill.
Right. Well, there is beauty in that, isn't there? I do love that you can just type in a word, just pick a word, like, I don't know, like LED, and then sort by new on the YouTube search.
Yeah.
Find a video with 4 views and learn a little bit about someone's life.
Yeah. Or IMG_.
Oh, yeah.
That one's always a classic. You get like raw, shitty digital camera uploads.
Oh, that one's great.
I have a tweet that's been sitting in my drafts that's just a screenshot that I took of like some guy's 4-view school project that for some reason got recommended to me.
Yeah.
And it was genuinely just me saying fuck this guy for no clear reason. Hang on. I'm gonna send you the picture so that viewers can get it.
Been having a rough week. That's not like you.
This is the picture.
Wow.
I just want you to react to it.
Never mind. Fuck this guy.
Fuck this guy.
Yeah, if you subscribe to our Patreon, then you can see the image and the
subscribe to our Patreon.
the channel name of the guy. It's just his full legal name. So
we will have one post, one Patreon locked post for paid members only. It's just gonna be this picture and a lot of my thoughts. I actually still don't think I've watched this video.
Well, it's only 1 minute 20 seconds. Why don't we play it right now? Get Billy to play the entirety of the video, and then we come back with our thoughts. Digital landfill.
I love the trash.
Oh, you actually just don't really have much more to add here then?
I mean, I think it's a decent, if cynical, description of the way that social media platforms just kind of accumulate over time, and how that is kind of maybe not sustainable. But
yeah,
beyond that, I don't know.
I mean, in terms of curation, like, what's the alternative, right? Like, if you want to create a version of YouTube that you can navigate in a way that tries to memorialize highlights, like really show like the best of what this place has to offer. Who the fuck decides that? Because it sure as hell ain't YouTube.
The thing that you're describing is just fundamentally different. This is just one of the trade-offs of having a giga shit centralized platform instead of a large distributed network of different people with their own websites. And the initial benefit, or one of the initial benefits of YouTube, was just that like hosting videos on your own website was really, really fucking expensive. And so them eating that cost was like a big deal. I don't know how much the math has changed on that.
Last I heard, it's still not profitable, but that's all hearsay.
That's fucking awesome. Yeah, I mean, Twitch fucking gave up on the entire country of South Korea, so it doesn't seem like this business model is necessarily getting any better, but it doesn't have to be because it's all speculative fucking bullshit anyway.
Pray you don't enter that ball game. That's what Sam and I are trying to do.
It is
steer clear of that.
It is. Hey, you can get very wealthy running that treadmill. Forever.
No, I like my small treadmill that I run at a loss.
That's so cool. Okay, Splitikin asks, "Hey, I just wanted to say this podcast is genuinely so cool. It's awesome. Oh, it's them being nice for a paragraph.
Oh, get off my dick."
Thank you. I smile and I say thank you and I shake your hand. What is your guys' dream video game if you had infinite development time and infinite funding to make the perfect game?
Oh, I already know what your response is going to be.
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't. I don't like... It's really hard for me to think about this question because the idea of making the biggest possible thing doesn't appeal to me because the thing that I love when making stuff is the constraints. I love pressing up against a limit and trying to figure out the coolest thing I can do within that boundary. If you take away that limit completely and you don't give me something to replace it, I'm just not having fun in the same way. There's no sport in that. It's just the work.
Well, and the only way you could answer this question then would be what would you want to see rather than what would you want to make?
Yeah.
Which ties in a lot with how you talk about creativity generally as something that you aren't even interested in making video games per se. You're interested in doing things in terms of creativity. Yeah.
Although making I've found my joy in that again.
Yeah, but like you found it through the other shit that you've been talking about. You have to depersonalize this and turn it into like if you could see realized the biggest giga shit thing ever, what would you want to see?
Because I just like...
Yeah, you're a pretentious dickhead. You don't like...
I'm a pretentious dickhead who doesn't like... Dude, Talos Principle 3.
Fuck you.
I like the second game, I'm sorry.
I don't know.
Break that... Here's the other thing. If I
Minecraft 2.
If I can double down on not addressing the actual premise of this question. Yeah, break up that infinite development time and funding and give it to a lot of different people, please. This can't keep happening. We just lost the studio that made Fear.
I mean, I would make like GTA 7, but that's a good answer too. So
yeah, the game that took infinite development time and infinite funding is the new GTA.
No, that'll be the next one.
Yeah,
they're gonna blow us out of the water with that next one with Red Dead Redemption 4.
I'm gonna go into GTA 6 preparing to be underwhelmed so that I can put even more pressure on them next time.
Yeah, I would make Skyrim. Just make it again. Fuck you.
From the top.
Yeah, I don't really have an answer to this question either. Like even less than you. I kind of just I'm not interested. You know, what you're asking is, would you like me to never make anything ever again because I never get to finish anything because I'm always tweaking it?
Okay, here's another fucked up angle. Is this not kind of what an expectation has become with just a lot of games generally? It's not enough to release a game anymore.
Oh,
if you aren't constantly pushing updates, it's a dead game. Every game is a game that has infinite development time and infinite budget because when you release it, you're not done. You don't get to be done. And if you decide that you're done, people will get mad at... There's a section of people that will get mad at you for it.
Yeah.
And find that at the very least weird. Because, yeah, everything is a live service forever.
I think I might just choose not to even entertain that angle. I think you're right, and that sucks, and I'm going to move on now.
And you can also the tides are changing. All right, we're choosing a better
you know
way.
What? Well, you know what I'd want? I'd want to make a video that I like, and then when I put it out, I move on, and that's what I want. That's what I would do.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
I would also make a game and then be done.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Sorry for whoever asked that question.
Sorry that we not only didn't answer your question, but we took like 5 different angles on not answering.
Yeah, like rationalizing why we don't want to answer their question.
The mark of a great question.
One that's a question so good that we found 5 different ways to not answer it.
Mark of a good question in a bad podcast.
Netrob5151, they ask, how thorny is the path from modding to game dev proper? Say I make a decent to good mod for another game. Would that score brownie points when applying to a studio? Now, that's something I don't know, but I just want to throw out there, if you're effectively modding a game, you are developing for a game. You're just not doing it in a professional context. Probably.
Yeah.
Even then, there are exceptions.
If you're making games, you're part of the group of people who make games. This is really interesting because it completely fucking depends on the game and the mod, because what people are looking for...
And the studio.
Because what people are looking for is finished projects, things that look like finished projects. So like a thing that has happened relatively consistently is like a group of people will make a giant fucking Portal 2 campaign mod. And then a lot of those people will get hired to work in industry afterwards, because like if you go through any of the big Portal 2 campaign mods that have come out in the last many years, and you start looking up the names of the people in the credits, a lot of them have found work off of that. And it's not because it was like a specific mod for a specific game, but it's because it was a showcase of their skills that presented studios with like, oh, this person knows their shit when it comes to environment modeling, and I can see that in context, and they can finish a project.
Shipping it is so important.
Yeah.
It's not just that you did a thing, it's that you did it and it looks like it's part of a whole, and it's a whole that people can engage with right now.
Granted, it's also possible to make something. Now, this is a dangerous thing to bring up, but it is possible to make something that's just so fucking good that it gets you hired and then you never finish it, which happens to a Portal 2 mod that I love to. I forget if it's Repercussions or Desolation, whichever one's not in development anymore. Yeah, the person just made videos of what they were working on, and it was so absurdly high quality that they got hired into the game industry off of the back of that work, and that is a rare occurrence. It's about demonstrating your skills.
I wouldn't exactly describe that latter example as a blueprint.
There is no fucking blueprint.
More like lightning striking, but
he was holding up a really, really big metal pole. That he spent a long time making. But yeah, this is, I don't know. So yeah, it totally depends. Like if you're interested in getting into fucking, hey, I don't know, if you want to get hired as like a multiplayer programmer or making a multiplayer mod for an existing single player game might be a way to go. But if you want to do environment art, that is, it's tough. It all depends on the specifics, but just know that what people are looking for, no matter what you do, is this person interesting and neat, and also can they deliver? Those are kind of the two hallmarks. It's like, are you doing something that I would like to work with you on, and are you capable of delivering? Because this is the other fucking thing, is that this is not a fair piece of advice to give, and I think I've given it before, but if you can have something in your resume that is remarkable, like not awesome, but worthy of talking about, something that is a weird curveball that will help you go from being just a candidate to being the person who did blank thing.
Listener, be above the rest.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying be weirder than the rest.
I'm just giving you shit.
I'm very specifically not saying that, because the rat race of just being the best person at a specific thing is hard, and there are a lot of people who occupy that bracket of being the best at a specific thing. But if you can do something that is so noteworthy in a weird way that it's something that people want to talk about, that helps. So if you can do something that shows your skills as being a very capable person and is fucking weird, and a mod is the way to do it for you, obviously don't fucking bet the horse and house and all of your belongings on one thing, but
right,
you may be onto something. Okay, 133678 asks, if you could bring back one studio which was shut down in the past few years, meaning all the former employees return, not just the name, which one would you pick? And I really like this question because if you could pick one, all the rest remain dead.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that you made this choice, right?
Yeah.
Everyone knows that you're the reason that their studio didn't come back.
Right.
I mean, the honest thing that I would do is I would go on Twitter and I would tell everyone, I can make this happen. I've been granted this power.
Yeah, set up a straw poll.
Fight.
And then revive the one that gets the least votes.
Yeah, I'll do one of those things that people will do where they're like, who's the best character? And it's like a Twitter poll, and it's like a 70 tweet long thread where it's like a tournament bracket of Twitter polls. They'll make you pick between two people, and they'll take the winner, and they'll match that up against someone else, and I'll just do that with every game studio that's been shut down in the last 6 years.
Yeah.
The people fight over it, and it'll feel horrible.
And then the reveal, and at the end, the reveal is, so actually the winner doesn't matter. I kind of just wanted to bring Raven back. So congratulations, Raven.
Congratulations, Raven.
Raven is still around, right? They're just a support studio for COD now.
Yeah.
Getting hard to tell.
Cool.
Getting really hard to tell these days.
Yeah. Bring back one studio. Who?
If you want a genuine, like, just straight answer, I don't know if I could give you one because it's getting too hard to pick, man. So many good studios have been killed recently that it's really hard to pick just one.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Fuck it. I don't know. You're asking me about which group of developers I personally mourn the most. And that's a hard decision to make.
This is the trolley problem.
Sure.
But it just goes on forever. It's just infinite roads, and also it's 99 trolleys, 100 tracks. Pick which one doesn't get run over, which is the real trolley problem.
Bozophobia asks, who's the least funny of you two?
And me.
Alex Norman 1498 asks, have you had experiences with custom engines or tools, good, bad, funny? What are the important things to get right from your perspective? That's so open-ended.
I have many fucking thoughts on this.
He sure has experience.
This
you could
is
say that.
Actually a dangerous fucking question.
How do you even define custom tools? What makes it custom? What does that word mean here?
Tools that are made for the studio or production that you're working with.
I suppose, yeah. It's really, because I'm trying to think about how I can contribute to this, but it really feels like a question geared almost entirely towards you.
It is an excuse for me to cut the fucking leash and say a bunch of shit that 5 people will care about, and I'm ready for it, and I welcome it.
Go on. It's the end of the podcast. No one's listening anymore anyway.
God bless. All right. Yes. I have made a lot of custom tools.
He's a developer of those tools.
Yes, I've made a lot of custom tools for both actual game studios working on productions and also just my own personal projects. I made a fucking custom game engine that was just built to be watchable that I mentioned earlier. Here, the main thing to keep in mind if you're working on custom tools, and also if you're working with tools, is that making tools is game design. Creativity is an act of play. You're playing with ideas. You're trying different things out. If that process fucking sucks, your output will get worse. My whole job as a tool designer from that perspective boils down to pretty much one thing, which is minimizing the time between fucking around and finding out. Like, if you wouldn't put a 2-minute loading screen after every single time that you die in a fucking Mario game, why would you want 2 minutes of like managerial bullshit around every iteration of an idea that you're working on? So if you want to make a change to the game,
or sometimes just like actually a loading screen.
Yeah.
When
you're punishing people for doing their fucking jobs at that point.
When you told me that you could render stuff using Final Cut Pro and still use the program while it was rendering, I got so mad.
You want to keep people in a place where the project is malleable in their hands. So yeah, if you have any task that the program needs to do that's going to take a long time, I try to push that into the background so the program can keep running and people can keep fucking with stuff. Also, when you're making changes, all of the consequences should be right in front of you. This is very basic game design shit. Don't force fucking creatives to take on this constant mental burden of holding in their head all of the potential consequences of a choice. Put it right in front of them. Like if you want to use the editing software example, one of the most annoying fucking things is when you want to make one change. You want to put one clip in between two other clips. Easiest thing in the world, and you slide everything to the right and you put the clip in between and then you slide everything back, and whoops, somehow while doing that you accidentally like overwrote an audio clip that was hanging in the timeline, and suddenly like it's 20 minutes later and that audio clip is just fucking gone and you have no idea what happened to it, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna keep mashing the undo key because I didn't realize that was gonna happen, and it's like
I ran out of undos, and now I have to fucking recreate the entire stupid fucking thing from scratch.
Yeah, and this is the fucking hey, I have so many problems with Apple as a company, but Final Cut Pro is really good because they built their entire editing software so that this cannot happen. Because
audience, I'm genuinely so interested if you care about us getting this in the weeds, because this is
we're gonna push it.
We're gonna push it. I want to
okay?
know. I want to know how you guys feel about this, because usually we cut ourselves off when we get this specific about our exact workflows.
So fucking minimize the consequences of action. If you want to make one change as much as possible, you should be able to do that with razor specific focus. Because if you don't do that, you punish people for doing their fucking job. And that makes them less likely to take risks. That makes them less likely to experiment. If every single change that they want to do requires an additional 10 minutes of work attached to it, they're going to want to stop making stuff. And that means the output is going to be fucking worse. This is a thing that happens. Like the way that projects calcify as you reach the end of a production and the cost of making any change goes way, way, way up is something that I think should be avoided by almost any means necessary. You should want to kick that can far down the road, because everyone has been working on a project and hit that point where they realize, like, I really want to make this change, but I'm worried about this, and this might happen. And almost none of those are creative risks. Those are technical risks. That's like the program might break. I might accidentally overwrite something, and it makes your entire creative process feel so brittle and fragile. And that is creative death. You're smothering people's spark when you do that, and you're creating an incredible amount of anxiety once they have stakes attached. Like, God forbid, they're using your program to do something that their livelihood is attached to, right? And they have a deadline. Fuck. Anyway,
You'd think that literally any of our tools would work better.
And it's like, and I want to be so clear that, like, this is not just about bugs. This is about fucking design. Like, here's a game development example, all right? The traditional way of making, like, big terrains and mountains in games is that you start with a flat plane and you paint to lift up the mountains. You know, you paint the height map. And
you sculpt it, basically.
Yes. And that is a really good workflow. But the problem is that if you paint that height map and you place down all the trees and stuff, or you want to move two parts of the level into different locations on the map, you now have to repaint the whole fucking thing, which is exhausting and annoying. And it's been a good enough workflow. This is not like a bad way to do stuff, but you know, there's a lot of cost that is incurred, and that has nothing to do with the program being buggy or not. That's just the design. There is a Unity asset that I forget. It's by a guy named Jason Booth, but the idea, I don't know if this is his idea or if he got it from somewhere else, but either way, this is one of the best fucking tools I've ever seen in my goddamn life. But his idea was basically, instead of just painting the world directly, you can have these little stamps that will have the height maps of the mountains and shit on them. And you can just move those around, and it will just overlay them all on top of each other to make the height map for the whole terrain. So if you have a mountain, instead of painting directly on the world map, you can paint that onto a stamp, and if you want to move that mountain and everything on it, just fucking move it, and it'll recalculate the height of the whole terrain around it. It's hard to explain, but when you see it, it is so fucking nice. Because now that you can just move around chunks of your level without having to worry about the huge cost of repainting everything and hitting a point where you're like, okay, well, now I want to add a lot of detail, so I guess I just can't ever change this level again.
No, but Sam, no. But limitation breeds innovation. So contrivance surely leads to creative fulfillment.
Don't fucking turn my words against me, Julian. Don't turn the weapon I wield on my own little self.
Well, how is this different, though, is the question.
In what way?
I could give an answer to this, but I want your answer. How
What is this?
Why is it that there are certain challenges that don't breed innovation and you don't want, but simultaneously we preach that limitation is what is so interesting about creativity?
It's about the type of limitation. There are limitations that force you to think different ways creatively. Like, okay, if I'm making a game for a Game Boy Color, you know, my sound, I have 4 voices on the sound chip. And that means that I have to, you know, okay, I want to reserve one of them for doing explosion sounds and the rest I can use music, but maybe there's a way that I can hack around. There's creative constraints that give you a puzzle to solve. There's nothing creatively interesting about the process of waiting for a loading screen, besides that it gives you less time to work on the thing in a way that's unpredictable and you can't plan around.
How would you feel if you submitted a complaint
How would I feel?
to Unity about its gratuitous loading screens, and the help team responded by saying limitation breeds innovation?
A lot of
I didn't think that would affect you like that.
Be real, Julian. You've stopped me dead in my tracks. I think that would would break my spirit in a way that hasn't happened yet.
There's a first time for everything.
There's a first time for every. I think I would immediately subscribe to Unity Enterprise and become a lifelong customer because, you know, there's something brave about that.
You just got me thinking about the developers who I spoke with about Halo Infinite's development and the tools that they were building. Do you remember what I told you about this, where I'm going with this?
They were trying to make the tools at the same time as the game is what I remember, and that was very difficult because it meant that they were working with unfinished tools and they didn't have enough time for much of anything, and it was prone to a lot.
Well, the specific example that I think of is that they were trying to make an open world game, and they were trying to make it with a tool that doesn't make open world games.
The old Halo engine tool?
Yeah, they were because they were redesigning the legacy tools that they had built and modified and iterated upon since Halo 5. So that system is really good at making Halo games, and Halo games are made a very specific way, you know? There are levels in a campaign. There are maps that you populate with game objects, and you sculpt those maps in external programs. You can't really do that for an open world game for a lot of reasons, or you can, but it would be horrible and really hard, and you'd have to make a lot of concessions. The modern way of doing it is you need to have like a level editor built into your engine in order to really do that properly, and they simply did not have that. Suffice it to say, there's no easy solution to this problem if you don't already have tools built to solve the problem. And so what 343 did was try to create tools while making the game to solve the problem. And there are worlds in which that can be great, but those worlds don't involve a revolving door of a workforce and a very tight deadline. And so they ended up with a tool that took, and I'm not hyperbolizing here, it genuinely for people who were working on the open world design, sometimes their job would involve just like 4-hour mandatory breaks because in order to open the map, it just took that long to open the map.
Yeah.
The
incurred cost of making a change.
Imagine whatever bullshit contrivances you have had to deal with as someone who works with programs in a creative capacity and multiply that by the absolute ambitious scale of making an open world game for the first time while operating on bleeding edge tech not designed to do that. And that is in the process of being actively renovated, and you end up with a scenario wherever you are being constantly encouraged to update your game engine every day you come in, you walk through the door, which takes an hour. And then, you have to load the map, so that's another 3 or 4 hours. And then you find out that the version that you updated today actually breaks a vital feature that was that was just not caught by the engine development team. So you have to roll it back. So that's another hour
And-
to download the old version. And by that point, you're about ready to clock out. So you have done nothing all day.
Yeah, and here's the other thing, right? Like, I don't mean to imply that, oh, if you just do this, then all of your tools will be awesome. Making good tools is fucking hard. It's a specialized skill set, and it doesn't get the due it deserves. And yeah, like fucking holy shit. The stories that you will see of this is a relatively common story of a studio taking on a really ambitious project and the tool development team being put in the unenviable position of, okay, we need you to build tools so that people can work on this giant thing. Every day the studio's losing money, and every day these tools aren't ready, they can't fucking work at all. So your priorities get fucked. I don't know exactly how things happened on Halo Infinite, but I do know that I've heard this story before.
Yeah.
Trying like the compromises that you have to make when you have to just get something up and running so people can do anything, and dealing with that debt for the rest of production is really tough.
People joked that 343's internal development tools during Halo Infinite's development were tech bankrupt.
Yeah.
It's nasty.
There's even a whole other thing that we didn't get into, which is like the way that tools can affect the way that like you structure your fucking team.
Listener, the reason that Unreal is as popular as it is not because it has the most fucking awesomest graphics. It's because it has a bunch of stuff like this. Like it's solved a bunch of problems for a lot of developers that would be really hard to solve in-house.
Yeah.
It's just a real monkey's paw of a deal that you make by using that engine. But the more we push into increasingly complex video games that demand more and more out of developers to scale up more and more and more and more, the harder it is to justify making all of those tools in-house. And so the compromise is to license them from someone who's already done all the work of making those tools, and all you need to do is know how to use them, cough up the cash.
Yeah.
That, and like there are a lot of specific problems with Unreal, which we could probably get into another time, but there's a reason that Halo Studios is now using Unreal. And it's because they kept thinking about using Unreal every time they accumulated more debt while working on Infinite, and then decided that they had already sunk too much cost and it wasn't worth it at this point. Then Infinite flopped, and they decided, fuck it, man, fuck it. And that's extra cool, because the whole point of the development of Halo Infinite's tools was, like, the idea was by the end of it, it would be in a place wherever it could be iterated on, and they would have tools that are really good for the future. And I've seen them in action. I've spoken to the people who use them, and they are. It's better than Unreal at certain level editing things. It's extremely intuitive and impressive what they pulled off, and that technology, they're not using it on the next game.
Because they have the benefit of being able to get specific about the tooling instead of having to deal with all of the shit that comes with the general purpose solution.
That's the trade-off, right? Is that, like, Unreal solves a lot of problems in a broad sense if you want to make a certain kind of game, but no two games are exactly the same. And so the challenge becomes retrofitting that engine to do exactly what you specifically need it to do. And that can be just as time-consuming as making the fucking tools yourself, depending on the problems in question.
I mean, the other thing is, like, Unreal... The difference between Unreal and Unity primarily has, in an ideal world, is that Unreal is really opinionated about the way that you use its tools, and Unity was not. But this is all...
Yeah, I mean, well, it's not just that, though. It's that Unreal is really opinionated, and what that means in a practical sense is that there is a right and a wrong way to accomplish things in Unreal. There is a designed workflow for you to use, whereas Unity is designed to be modular. You decide how you want to use Unity. And so it's much more of an open canvas that you build on top of, is the way it has been described to me.
Yeah.
It makes it really good for tool builders and such.
Yeah, in a perfect world. But it may almost get there again soon, maybe. Pray for me specifically. And for the engineers at Unity. You have a monumental task on your hands. Anyway, fucking yeah. The thing that I would, I guess, leave off on is that one of the most visible ways that I think you can see changes in tooling affecting the way that games are made is in level design, which is something that I have rambled to you a lot about in the past.
Oh, yeah.
This thing happened, this cool thing happened over the course of the 2000s to the 2010s, which is that level design and environment art separated a lot as disciplines. And there is this thing, this is not necessarily a wrong workflow, but there is a thing called a modular level kit, which is basically when you will have your artist create a bunch of pieces, like Lego pieces that you can fit together to build out your levels and the shape of your levels. Whereas before, like if you look at the way that Hammer works, Hammer is a tool that is built so that level designers have very direct control over making the shapes of their levels. Hammer doesn't give you, like in Half-Life 2, Half-Life 2 isn't made out of a bunch of modular pieces that have been assembled and placed like objects. Levels in Hammer are made out of shapes, and it's fucking awesome.
Current level designing in modern workflows using pre-built assets, it's all about finding interesting ways to repurpose pre-built things that have been given to you rather than necessarily sculpting it from scratch.
It's about asking the art team for more shapes.
Yeah, and the art team's saying, here's what I can do.
Instead of being able to just, which is tough and limiting in a way that having more direct access isn't necessarily. And there are benefits to working like that, but I don't like it personally. And I think there's ways to get those benefits in other ways, especially now. But yeah, there is now a concerted effort being made because Unreal and Unity both don't have a built-in solution for this. Unreal kind of has some modeling tools built in, and like it has a thing where you can like make grids out of blocks, and that's kind of nice. And Unity has assets stored like modeler solutions that are kind of okay. But I wish we had something as good as Hammer 2 is standardized, and there are concerted efforts being made. For Unreal, there's a thing called Scythe being made because Hammer, get it? And it's basically like, what if level design was good in Unreal? And for Unity, there's real-time CSG turned into a thing called Chisel because Hammer, get it?
Fucking Christ.
That is basically recreating the older Hammer workflow. Listen, it was called fucking Hammer.
Yeah, but that one was funny. And it at least had the courtesy to be funny.
I think these names are fine. Fuck you.
Whatever. Making a new tool called Scissor.
Cutting you out of my life for shitting on poor developers.
Fuck you. Make your next tool called Knife. Call it Fork.
Call it Fork and I stab you with it.
That's good.
Good.
Remember when they asked who's the least funny?
Amen.
I think it's a tough competition out here right now. The market is thriving.
Yeah, from the guy who brought you Scissor. It's Patreon Q&A time.
I wasn't talking.
I know, but I was interrupting the music because we answer questions from the patrons when the patrons ask us questions.
Right, and we forgot to do that during the actual recording session.
Yeah, we also, this episode was delayed, so we're gonna do two. So the first patron question is from, I know it's Christmas. Big Ugly Jordan asks, that wasn't editorial, that was just their name. Hi, finalists. With the recent releases of Julian's Matrix and King Kong, the movie, the game, the YouTube video, what other movie tie-in games / assorted media have y'all thought about covering? If there's nothing on the table at the moment, then what size big naturals do you both wish you could have?
B-. As for fucking media, I'm thinking like I'd like to do Haze at some point because it's the Halo killer.
It is the Halo killer. It just took a while.
It's still on its way to killing Halo, but it's gonna happen.
Yeah. As for me, I'm pretty happy with where they're at. I think that's your second question. Also, I like the prediction of the Haze movie because the question was about movie tie-in games, books. And
I completely forgot it. But I mean, well, yeah. Carpenter fans have a lot to look forward to. Let's just say that, okay?
Fuck, it's been. Avatar Frontiers of Pandora,
I'm not
just to
doing
make
that.
Julian play
I'm
that entire
I'm not
thing.
fucking doing that.
It's-
Because you know what I'd have to do is I'd have to then go and play the Wii version, like the old fucking
That's
the
exactly
original
what
one.
I was going to say.
Right. And I'm not doing that.
I had a French copy of that game for PC that I got from eBay.
Cool, man.
No, it was really good because in the original version of the Avatar game, you could play as the Na'vi or the humans.
Oh.
You could kind of like pick your side because that was like a big awesome thing to do.
Yeah,
back
it's like
then.
it's like
and
war
the narrative
games where you can.
implications were like a
it's-
little concerning.
Well, I mean, listen, we do live in a world wherever there are plenty of war games where you can play as like part of the Axis powers. You just can do that. So
and the skeleton of the video begins to write itself.
fuck you. Yeah, I honestly don't have any. I don't really have any immediate answers to this question because most movie tie-in video games are really underwhelming, and you pretty much already know where they're gonna go. Like we all know what a movie tie-in looks like.
Yeah.
I covered King Kong and Matrix because they were exceptions to the norm in funny and interesting ways.
Yeah, I think that when the modern movie tie-in game is the Fortnite skin, unfortunately, and it's either that or it's like a huge transmedia venture where it's like we're gonna make the Avatar game movie cinematic universe,
Right.
and those so far. I might be ignorant, but have not spun off in a crazy direction. The exception to that, I think, is the indie scale stuff, specifically like that you can see Bithell Games doing, where they made a John Wick game that was almost like a timeline strategy game instead of an action thing, or the Tron giga shit visual novel exploration thing that I don't have a firm grasp on because I haven't played it. But like, I don't know. There's who knows. Who knows what's in store for us in the future?
Yeah.
But none of it will happen until Julian makes the Avatar Wii game video. So look forward to that in 2025. Thank you so much.
Next question.
Commandment Zero asks, can you guys wear name tags so I can tell who's who?
We already have.
We've been wearing name tags.
You're stupid.
They're not.